Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a drill. Manchester United are back. The sweet victory against Arsenal in a ground we haven't won in a long time. And to score absolutely bangers of goals to win the game. Let's dive into it. Manchester United just went to Emirates and walk away with 3 points. And this was not some smash and grab. This was not some defensive performance. Is that we walk into Emirates banging our drums after destroying our next door neighbors, the noisy neighbors. We walk in to Arsenal and we tell them, you bunch of bottle job, we need 3 points. Give us 3 points right now. And we asking, we taking. Manchester United officially back. For those who guys were trying to gaslight us that these players are not good enough, just remember, it took Michael Carrick 2 games to win back-to-back Premier League games. It took Ruben Amorim 14 freaking months to do that. You guys see? 14 months to win back-to-back Premier League game. This guy did it in his first 2 games against Manchester City, second in the Premier League at Old Trafford, against Arsenal in Emirates, first in the Premier League, and we went to their house and we put our feet on their chair and on their whatever tea table, and we say something. And there's chance that we might actually decide who win the freaking league. Just imagine that. Because Aston Villa got to come to Old Trafford. We are back. The giant is waking up. Everybody better be scared. Michael Carrick, you are now in contention for the permanent manager role. Because not only did you win 2 games, you beat 2 of the best teams in the country. And all by not playing a defensive game and by not parking a bus, you went toe-to-toe with them and you beat them. Arsenal scored a freaky corner, which is what they're known for, and the other goal was our own goal from us. We technically scored 4 goals, and we beat Arsenal. The mighty Arsenal, the battling job Arsenal, we beat them. Yeah, you can never win at Emirates. When the last time United win at Emirates? We just won at Emirates. What's the next narrative? We just won 2 back-to-back games under our new manager in his first 2 Premier League games. What is there to say other than when you put your players in correct position and profile them correctly and give them the structure and opportunity to thrive, this is what happened. When you focus on what they are good at and not constantly bring up what they are not good at, this is what you get. Kobbie Mainoo cannot cover more distance in the last 2 games than any other Manchester United player under Ruben Amorim. But somehow he could not run. Started back-to-back Premier League game against 2 of the best midfield in the Premier League and boss both of them. And somehow he could not run. That is Ruben Amorim's fault, not players' fault. His weaknesses were way overblown under Ruben Amorim, and they were just merely an excuse for him not to play him because he did not fancy him. If you cannot find a spot in your midfield for a player like Kobbie Mainoo, I don't think you're a good coach. People were crucifying me for that. Look what just happened. The kid went from wanting to leave Manchester United to starting back-to-back Premier League game against Arsenal and Manchester freaking City and boss both of them. So, what's down? What can you say now other than this team was massively under coach hauled back by previous manager. But we ain't going to dwell in the past because we just won it at Emirates against Arsenal. A sweet victory, a well-deserved victory, a well-fought victory. And guess what? Guess what? They just equalized on a freaky corner kick. And you know what you do? You send in Cunha. You send in Sesko. You do not make a center-back to center-back sub like the last manager. That's Manchester United DNA. Michael Carrick deserved to be in the consideration for the permanent job. What he have done in these 2 weeks he's been at Manchester United is incredible. And technically, in his 5 games against for Manchester United as manager, these first 2 and the first 3 when Jose Mourinho got fired, Arsenal, he beat them. He beat Arsenal again. He beat City, Villarreal in the Champions League, and draw with Chelsea. All tough games, and he came through with flying colors. How can you not consider this man for the permanent job? How? It's pure results say that he should be in the consideration. And that's, to me, it's the biggest thing. Michael Carrick is doing something that Ruben Amorim has never actually did when it came to Manchester United, which is he looked at the players he have and he say, how can I create a structure, a system, best fit the attribute, what they are good at. When Amorim came in and said, I'm going to do my own thing. If you fit in my system or not, it is what it is. And that alienated a lot of good players. You had Bruno Fernandes, who's incredible creator. Nobody has created or assist and score goals in the midfield position more than Bruno Fernandes in the last 5 years in Manchester United. Not a single midfielder in the Premier League has done that. And we had Martin Odegaard playing the Premier League. We had Kevin De Bruyne playing the Premier League. But none of them put up the numbers Bruno Fernandes did. Oh, and that coach saw him that and said, guess what? I'm going to put you back. See, Kobbie Mainoo, one of the most promising young midfielders coming out of Manchester United. A type of midfielder Manchester United rarely produced. The last time we produced a midfielder like that was Paul Scholes many years ago. He can't run. And bump him out of the starting 11. Got rid of Rashford, got rid of Garnacho. Basically, he was doing his absolute best to alienate every single player in the squad, playing every single person out of possession. Patrick Dorgu is turning into one of the best wingers in the league. Who would have thought when he was playing wing back? This is not an indictment. I'm just glad my team is back. The sleeping giant is awakening. Our attack is frightening, fast, lethal, and full of goals. Something that we have not said in a long time. Our midfield can cope. Casemiro looked young. Kobbie Mainoo in next to him, running his socks off, controlling the games, giving us a breath of fresh air when we need it, slowing the game down when we need to put our foot on the ball and not push the pace. The few times this game where we control possession for 3 to 4 to 5 minutes is Kobbie Mainoo getting the ball, slowing it down, cycling it. Maguire, Bruno, Casemiro, and they kept the ball. That's what Kobbie Mainoo is good at. He can receive the ball from anybody, any angle, control it, and get out of pressure. That skill cannot be taught. We focus too much on what he cannot do and not what he can do. And Michael Carrick literally just said that after the post-game. People focus too much on what this team cannot do instead of what they can do and what they are good at. And that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to make sure what you're good at, you excel at. and we're going to try to minimize your weaknesses. And that's how teams are constructed. You create a team by creating a dynamic where each individual strength are maximized and their weakness are covered up by somebody else. Vice versa, where Bruno Fernandes' weaknesses are being covered up by Kobbie Mainoo, and Kobbie Mainoo weaknesses are being covered up by Casemiro, and Casemiro weaknesses are being covered up by Kobbie Mainoo. That's how you create a team. And Michael Carrick is showing you that this team actually have balance in it. Yes, do we want better than Casemiro? 100%. Not because he's not good, but he can't do what he used to do. Do we want a competition for Kobbie Mainoo? 100%. Competition for Bruno Fernandes? Eventually, the competition for Bruno Fernandes is already in the team. That is Cunha. That's Mateus Cunha. Let's talk about the Arsenal game. And I'm going to tell you the three stand out for me. And that to me is the midfield structure, especially the way our midfield and our back four works and how close they are. We basically create a box in the middle with like Maguire and Martinez, and above them, who rarely move too far away from each other, is Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro. Those four create a box. We can shuffle teams wide and not let them go through that box. That is making sure we are defensively solid, but can also push forward. Bruno Fernandes does not have a lot of responsibility other than to back up the press. If our wingers press, Bruno basically join Mbeumo up front and create the front two when defending in a 4-4-2. And he's no longer in the middle trying to battle for the loose ball, trying to close up spaces, which is something he's not good at. He's now basically the guy up front closing the first man or second man, shuffling people to the side we want them to go, instead of him being the one to like putting in the tackle or cutting on the pass, the final pass, which is not something he's good at. Casemiro is wonderful at that, screening the back four, being able to put out fires before they even start. Kobbie was developing that, where a couple of times I saw him move and cut up a pass where he doesn't even have to put a tackle in, just cut up a pass. That's a sign of intelligent player and be able to know where to position yourself. That's what Michael Carrick was actually phenomenal at, which is why I think Kobbie Mainoo game is going to go to the next level, because of having a midfielder that knows how to play midfield. There's more to being a midfielder than being able to tackle. Your ability to cut up passes and not having to rely so much on pace. Michael Carrick was that. He was one of the most effective defensive midfielders in the Premier League. And if he played in the other league, he would have been seen as a rival of Busquets. That's how good Michael Carrick was. And I'm seeing those signs of what he was trying to do implemented in the team in the way Kobbie Mainoo cut up passes instead of trying to make a last ditch tackle. The same thing with Casemiro. You've seen like less of them making like last ditch tackles coming from behind where they already been bypassed and they now have to make tackles. They're not doing many of that. What I'm seeing is more like they're making tackles in front of them or cutting out passes, which is a very good sign. And you can see them working their socks up. Case in point, Kobbie Mainoo in the last two games have covered more ground than any other Manchester United player now and under Ruben Amorim. And that's the guy people say he couldn't run. It just, you create a system where players can thrive. And that's my whole point. Arsenal, we did that phenomenally. And when a chance came, we took them. We took our chances. And that's fundamental of football. When you create your chances, take them and limit your opponent's chances. And once they do get a good chance, your goalkeeper is there to make one incredible save. That's football. Attacking, scoring goals, midfield controlling things in the middle. And once your defense has been breached a little bit, your goalkeeper pulling out a worldie. And that's how it's supposed to be. And that's how we beat Arsenal. And it was such an incredible performance. A few shout out. Mateus Cunha, wow, took being on the bench in his stride, and as soon as he came back and stepped on the last 2 games, he made an immediate impact. That's a good mentality to have. It doesn't matter if I start, when I come onto that pitch, I'm going to make sure you consider me next game. And that's what Cunha have done the last 2 games.